Hello everyone, Sire here again. I have decided that I would try to create a Valentine-ish type card using some die cuts that I have selling on my Etsy account. They are part of my love bug, I guess I think I call them, love bug die cuts. And I've taken the one shape out of the five and I have cut them in, I believe, terrestrial teal card and cotton candy cardstock. I have sped this video up 3 times so that the video is not as long. So what I'm doing here is just playing around with the shapes, and I noticed that the Cricut machine didn't cut it perfectly, so I'm just taking my scissors and trimming off some extra pieces. This does happen sometimes when I'm cutting with the Cricut machine. I decided that I will take my card base, which is an A2 size card, and use broken china distressed ink. I've actually never really used it, and you can tell by what I'm doing that it is very chunky in the center. I didn't smooth it out very well. I'm not actually worried about it because I don't really care what's in the center because I'm going to cover it. Ideally, I was actually trying to learn how to do blending with distressed inks. I believe oxides are probably way better to work with than inks, but I was playing around with it at the same time, and I'm glad that I was covering it because that is definitely a mess. A lot of distressed ink. So what I'm going to do is just take a card that is, I believe, 3.5 by 4 3/4, and I'm just going to outline it with the same broken china. I did notice that I kind of went over and smudged a little bit too much on the sides, so you'll see that I actually changed this up. I don't like it, and but for now I'm going with it. So I just waved up my desk there, and I'm going to get ready to start positioning all the little pieces. I did use my Cricut to cut out some words. It was something I found on Creative Fabrica. I did purchase all these images, and I can put a link to the description if you would like to find out this font. Of course, you don't need to cut out your own words. If you have a stamp, that works just as fine. I don't have any stamps, so I use my Cricut to cut out some words. And it is "We Are Good Together." I'm just going to cover the whole bottom pretty much with these fonts. And as you can see, these tiny little letters are very finicky. I actually had to cut it about 2 to 3 times to make sure I got every letter. If you do have a Cricut machine, I do recommend for some of these, especially the really small font together, to use the intricate cut. It will cut it twice, but it goes slower and you don't lose as many. So that's my recommendation. That's what I did. I had, like I said, cut it 3 times to get it to work. But it's good now. I did have to throw a couple away. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to line this "We Are Good" on the bottom, and yeah, actually, it's at this point that I realize I don't like the card, and I'm remaking it, and I'm just being careful not to smudge it. I just want a nice clean outline. And then I'm going to draw a line with a ruler and a pencil just at the bottom to create a straight line. And I'm going to take "We Are Good" and glue them centered along that line. So you can see that line there. And that gives me just a little bit of space, to put together underneath it. I'm going to use the On Point glue. It is a very fine tip, and it is almost like a watery glue. It works really pretty well, but if you don't get it down the first time, that glue you need to reapply it because it seems to absorb into the paper, and if you try sticking it and sticking it again, it will not. You have to reapply. So start with the R just so that I know where the center is, and then I will glue the other words on each side. And this will allow me to make sure that the phrase is centered where I wanted it. And just being very careful not to put too much glue, because if you do, it will seep out. And with this type of glue, it does create a shiny effect. So you may not see it in this video, but if you were to look at it in person and reflect it in the light, you will see a shiny glow. And I'm just going to put an acrylic block on that to kind of settle it. That didn't work actually, but that's okay. I thought I would try. Now I'm going to add some eyes to my monsters. This does not come with a set. I just used a hole punch on white cardstock. And I'm taking a jelly pen and I'm going to draw some eyes or pupils into the white circle. So the first one I decided to do a nice plain circle. And then for the little pink one, I decided that I would do little happy eyes, little upside down U's maybe. The little gleeful, happy little eyes. There you go. And that jewel picker, I'm not very, I still need to learn how to use that. Trying to move these things around, they just flop all over the place. So I'll glue those eyes on. I think they're really cute. I really like the little eyes, and I decided just to go with the one eyeball for the teal monster, or teal bug. And the two eyeballs for the pink one. And once this is done, I noticed that there was a little bit of glue that seeped out on the pink one, so I'm picking that up and kind of scratching, trying to remove the residue off of it so it's not too noticeable. It's not easy once it's down. Next, I'm going to remove or erase the pencil, and this is where I realized that the glue didn't set very well because the letter started to lift. I don't think I would use a pencil again. I thought that if I used it, I could easily erase it, but because the font is so curvy, it was hard to get around it, and it started lifting some of the words. So I did the best that I can. I did get it all off eventually, but I had to take my glue and and re-glue the pieces down. And this is what I was saying. Once it's glued, if you lift it, it needs to be glued again. It's not good for reapplying, not like the art glitter glue. So now I'm trying to position using my jewel picker, which, like I said, it's finicky, and trying to get to place the together word centered to make it look good. And I realized that "we are good" is kind of low, and I have a little space where the G is on good. And I'm trying to figure out how to space this patiently. And I use patiently very, 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 I don't know what to say. I had to be very patient because these letters were so finicky. As you can see, they are hard to pick up. They're flipping everywhere. I had to bite my tongue to get these because no matter how I moved them, they just didn't seem right. And every time I tried to, they would stick to my finger, they would fly across the table, and you can't help but laugh. It was really funny. But in the process, I decided I will just kind of move them just on the other side of the G. I felt that was the best place for it together. It didn't create too much of a, there we go again. Oh my goodness. It didn't create too much of a gap. And that was my problem because I realized the more I played with it, and maybe it's just me, but I kept seeing the words "we are good to get her." And I was trying really hard not to get together to be split into three words. and that G was just adding that space. And that's why I put the H on the other side of the G, just so that we wouldn't get that 3-word sentence, if that makes sense. Maybe I was the only one seeing that. But anyways, back to the card. I'm gluing the letters together back down, and I'm going to start on the sides. I saw someone do this once, and they said that it's a good way of keeping it centered, because if you work on either side and move towards the center, it's easier to create the gap. Yes and no. I did get it centered exactly where I wanted it, but what happened was the T and the R are not aligned anymore. The T is higher than the R, so it's now slanted because it was so far away. But I think with a lot of practice, I could get this down. I could do this better. I am still learning to make cards, and it's all for fun. I just really like it, and these little mishaps, that's okay. It's how we learn. I always believe you can't grow without failing, and no matter how harsh that sounds, it is so true. In this case, failure is nothing. It's just fun. So I'm okay with failing it. If this is a failure, I'm very happy with this outcome. So I got my H hopefully down. There we go. So I get my H down, and it's now together and not to get her, which is a little bit better than, yeah. So anyways, so I'm going to put my monsters on, or my love bugs, and I want them to be holding hands. I decided to just give it a little more dimension. I'm going to put some foam tape. I do have some foam dots that I got from Michaels, and they are part of the Recollection brand, I believe it's called. And I will put those behind. And you'll notice that I tilted the card, the one in the front, and that was by accident. And when that happened, my eye just fell in love with that little quirky twist to it. I saw more blue, and it looked nice. So I actually decided to keep it that way. That was not the original plan. The original plan was to keep everything symmetrical. But I like this, and I'm glad that the mistake happened. Everything always just seems to work together, or fall into plan, let's say. So I'm just playing around, seeing where I want to position them. I'm putting my circle dots on there. I will cut another one in half so that it can be put on both sides. I'm not worried about doing the arms. They are pretty thin, so I'll let them just dangle there, and it's not too bad because they're not big pieces. They are kind of flimsy. You don't really notice, and that also saves the tedious task of trying to put foam tape on those little skinny arms. I am going to put a little bit of glue on the pink one's arm and glue it all together. And once that's done, I will glue that piece of card onto the card base using my art glitter glue. I do like this glue, and I need some more. It's almost running out. So that's my card. I think I add one more little thing to it. I had these little hearts that were actually the mouths of the little love bugs, and I decided to glue those on right on the other side of together. I will put the blue one down and the pink one on top. And then on top of that, I've taken my Stardust stickles, which I'm absolutely in love with. I got it from a Scrapping for Less, I believe, October card kit, and I've been using it on everything ever since. I love it. I probably want to get more stickles. But that's my card for today. I hope you enjoyed it. This is not from any company that I purchased from. These are designs that I created using my Cricut. I do sell the Love Bug Monsters. If you are interested on my Etsy, they come in a set of 25. And also, like I said, these images were purchased from creativefabrica.com. I do pay for my images. I don't encourage anyone to ever try selling items that are not purchased, and I can put that in the description if you are interested in finding it. I hope that this card has inspired you to be creative for Valentine's. I definitely will be trying to create some more cards right now with these monsters because I don't have any other stamps yet. But we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. But thank you for joining me, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks.